Once upon a time, there lived a woman called Uju. Uju was a well-respected woman in the village. She was the leader of the married women group in the village. She was married with 4 children. Uju was from the Ogun village. The Ogun women married at a very early age. That meant that most of the time, there were young girls who were not yet of marriageable age, women who were of marriageable age, and then old women who were still married or widowed. All women of marriageable age were married. One day, a foreign woman came to settle in the Ogun village. She had come from the neighboring village. She lived alone in a hut far away from the villagers. Uju went to the woman's hut to welcome her. The woman said her name was Abike. She was a basket weaver. She would weave baskets and sell them in the market. Uju was happy to hear this. Uju then asked Abike to join her women's group. The group was for married women. Abike said she was not married. Uju was surprised to hear this. "Are you a widow?" she asked. Abike said no. Abike said she had never been married and was not likely to. Uju was surprised to hear this. The Ogun people had never heard of such. "Where are you from?" Uju asked her. Abike said she was from the neighboring village of Ozo. "Don't the women there get married?" Uju asked. Abike said they do, but no one is forced to. Uju replied and said, "Of course, no one is forced to do so in the Ogun village, but it is expected." Since then, Uju would try to introduce different men to Abike, persuading her to marry one. But Abike always rejected their offer. Uju did not like this. Abike did not have a husband, she didn't have children, and therefore could not join the women's group, and as such was not under Uju's control. Rumors started to swirl around the village that Abike was a witch. She did not behave like others and always kept to herself. Abike heard this, but she did not mind. However, it became difficult for her to sell her baskets at the market square, as everyone avoided her. One day, the king's guards announced that the children under 5 had been going missing, boys and girls alike. The guards further said, after close observation, they believed it was a woman behind the disappearance, but anytime they tried to catch her, she would disappear. This was happening at an alarming rate. The king announced that the culprit would be beheaded at the village square in broad daylight, as this was a heinous crime. The following day, during the women's group meeting, the women charged Uju to get to the bottom of the situation, as all women were under the women's group. It was Chisom, a member, who was quick to point out that all women were part of the women's group except one, Abike. Everyone agreed to this. Chika, another member, said that doesn't make her the culprit. She may be innocent. Another, Nkechi, said, but if you recall, it is when she came to this village that our children started going missing. There was a loud pause. Everyone was contemplating what Nkechi just said. Nkuruka, one of the victims who lost her child, cried out and said, "I want justice. Whoever took my child, I caused that person to a life of pain," she cried. She prayed to Efuru, the goddess of fertility, to bring her child back to her. The women closest to her held her and comforted her. Uju, the leader, responded. She said she and a few other women would monitor Abike's movements and catch her in the act of her witchcraft to be reported to the king. Everyone agreed to this. One night, Uju and Nkechi hid in the bushes while they looked at Abike's hut. After a few minutes, they realized that the hut was empty. They went in, and once inside, they could see charms used by the chief priest for rituals to call the dead. "What are these doing here?" Nkechi asked. Uju looked at them and said, "See, I told you, this woman is a witch." They went to the back of the house looking for Abike. They walked a few more steps when they heard what seemed like a woman reciting a strange incantation that they had never heard before. As they moved closer, they saw Abike wrapped in white material with ritual marks on her body. Immediately, Uju shouted, "Witch, witch, witch! We have caught you!" Before Abike could react, she saw herself in the king's dungeon to be beheaded the day after tomorrow. For some reason, Abike was not afraid. She did not plead with Uju to spare her and not alert the king's guards. Uju was surprised at her confidence and envious as well. She went around telling people that it was because of her strong leadership that the culprit Abigail was caught. However, the day before the beheading, the royal nephew and niece went missing. The king was very upset. How was this witch doing this even after she has been locked up? The king went himself to Abigail's prison to confront her as he had not seen her the day she was arrested. What he noticed immediately was how beautiful and calm she looked. He said, "You witch, bring out my nephew and niece, otherwise I will behead you now." Abigail looked at him without fear in her eyes. "You cannot behead me if the gods did not permit it." At this, the king was surprised. "How dare you?" he said. "Do you speak to me in that tone? You are a wanderer, a foreigner to this land. I can behead you and nothing will happen. Tell me where you have taken the children," he shouted. Abigail said she did not take the children. She, however, knew who took them and where they were. The king did not believe this. It was his chief guard who told him to go ahead with her plan. All they needed to get were the children back, and then they would behead her as planned. The king calmed down a bit. He asked Abigail to take him to where the children were. Abigail said she would not. She said the goddess Efuru will reveal the culprit in due time. The king was furious again. He said to behead her tomorrow. The next day, Abigail was no longer in her prison. Everyone was scared. Where could she have gone? Uju ran to inform all the women what had happened. Every woman and child had to be careful as the witch had escaped. The only person Uju could not find was Nkechi. So Chisom and Uju went in search of her and they found her in her home. Once they came in, they saw bags of gold everywhere. Uju and Chisom were shocked. Where did you get all this gold from? Nkechi said her husband had given it to her. It was for the women's group, and with the gold, the women could do more for the village. A smile of greed crossed Uju's face. She was happy to hear this. She thanked Nkechi for always being a committed member. That night, because she was worried, Chisom told her husband, who was a royal guard, what she saw in Nkechi's house. How can someone have that much gold? Chisom's husband, Arinze, was surprised as well. That night, moved by his ancestors, Arinze went to Nkechi's house. From a distance, he could see Nkechi and her husband carrying two big bags. It seemed like they were heavy. What were they carrying and where are they going to at this time of the night? He asked himself. He followed them. They did not go far. Under the orange tree stood a man waiting for them. When Arinze came closer, he could see that it was the village priest. Immediately, he felt something terrible was wrong. Nkechi and her husband dropped the bags that they were carrying. Inside the bags were gold. The chief priest looked inside the bag, smiled, waved his staff over the bags, and they disappeared. He thanked the couple. He told them that they needed more children. Now that everyone suspected Abike, they were free to take as many children as they wanted. Arinze was shocked to hear this. How could these people do this? The whole time, they thought it was Abike. Arinze informed the king. Nkechi and her husband were arrested immediately. In their homes were bags and bags of gold and cowries. They confessed that they snatched children away and took them to the chief priest, who traps their soul and rewards them with gold that appeared the following morning in their house. The king went to the shrine and saw the chief priest. He did not deny it. He said the evil god needed the souls of the children to be more powerful. He lifted up the calabash, laughing and saying, "No one can free their souls. Their children will never come back." The villagers looked on with sadness and fear in their eyes. In anger, the king ordered the guards to capture the chief priest and kill him immediately, but they could not catch him as he disappeared and appeared in different spots. This went on for minutes, and then from his back, Abike appeared and killed the chief priest. She lifted up the calabash and then threw it to the ground. It broke open and the children appeared. They were free. They all ran to their parents. Everyone was happy and amazed. The king asked Abike, "Who are you?" Abike said she was the chief priestess of Efuru, the goddess of fertility. The people of Ogun had cried out to her. That is why Abike was sent here. She knew that the chief priest was consumed with dark powers, but she could only act when the goddess instructed her to. Then Abike turned and looked at Uju. Uju covered her face in shame. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. If you liked it, please subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank you to those who have subscribed. Thank you to those who have supported. Until next time, goodbye.